Trying to do a live here on Facebook, and I'm trying to do live here on YouTube because I want to make sure that these messages get out to as many women as possible. I want to say good morning to you. Today is the 28th of August, and the Lord has been awakening me, like in the fourth watch, just kind of praying and looking at some of the things that's been going on with so many of our women and young girls to the point that it has been very, very distressing for me. So I wanted to take a minute out and kind of share some things with you in regards to some of the issues that women are facing. Now, these are going to be about 10 lessons. These lessons, the reason why I put it here on Family and Friends of Challenged Minds is because I believe that a lot of leaders are here that need to understand how important it is that we begin to work very closely with women and young girls who are facing a lot of emotional trauma and they need to go through recovery. And so I want to say good morning to you who's watching today. And I also want to share how important it is that we talk to one another as women so that we can begin to really, really look at how important it is that we do Titus 2 movement for this last day. Social action is so important to Abba, especially for those who have been there and done that. And so in my meditation, I want to share a couple of things I'll start out with. As I said, it's going to be 10 days of this. Don't know when Abba's going to stop it. But my testament, every year I try to come back and really do some black eyes to the enemy in regards to women and young girls. And so I don't want to try to take anything away from, the anointing that God has given a lot of men who love God. But we do want to talk about those who do not love God. We want to talk about those who are not really, really in the realm of emotional wellness so that we can get the woman to understand first herself and to see why she has found herself in relationships that do not work and or in relationships that has caused them a lot of emotional trauma. That's what I want to talk about today, that trauma. And so today, we want to keep on focusing on. I love how Oprah put that message about not what happened to you, but not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. And many of those things have happened. I thank God that even though I suffered PTSD when I got shot, for those who don't know my testimony, my children's father took a 12 gauge shotgun at close range and blew out my face. It is nothing but God. I know that for such a time as this, I know that God would have me to come on here to talk to families, to talk to whoever would listen in regards to mental wellness. And so we know that we can see all across the globe, we have women and young girls who are dying at the drop of the hat. And we also have men who have become so angry that after they have made this issue or mistake in their lives, and then they kill themselves or kill the whole house. And so my goal is to make the impact. What happened to me, sure, I understand that it was traumatic. Sure, many people don't agree with me on forgiveness. Many people don't understand how you're going to forgive someone after they've done what they've done to you. But it took me 15 years, trust me, and I believe that uh, the type of ministry that I have in healing and deliverance, it would not have the impact that it have if I did not forgive. And so this is not something you can talk. This is something you must walk. This is something you must be long suffering as Abba is with us. And so I want to jump right into our message today. This is number one that I am talking about today as far as us dealing with women in recovery. Now today, I want to give a couple of nuggets in regards to recovery because in my book that I talk about spiritually naked women, I'm not going for my book today, but I do want to share a piece in regards to before I get into talking about the fragmented soul, because of many of you, who like myself was walking around with a fragmented soul, thinking that all was well after all relationships that I had, thinking that all was well after I got the word in me, after I was preaching abroad and things like that, and saying I forgave my mama, saying I forgave my brother, saying that I had really, really recovered from all these things, but my soul was still fragmented. I still had some what they call residue of bitterness in regards to what had happened to me. And so I want to talk to this woman. I want to talk to this young girl who may be listening to me now. about is called spiritual deceasement. I talk about that in my book here that's called Spiritual Naked Women. So I can't go through, but this is the book, Spiritual Naked Women. And this book is really primarily for women who deal with women ministries. But I don't want to get into teaching completely out of it because I want to get straight to the message of what I want to talk about today, talking about recovery, talking about the fragmented soul is my jump start for today so that I can get women to understand and perhaps any men that are watching me look like we have. I don't know if this is a man or not. I see Mickey. Thanks for joining me. I don't know if it's a man or woman, but I want you to know that I pray that these messages that you hear for these 10 days. The number 10 is a number of testing. It's a number of government. It is a number of pulling things together in order. And so my goal is to be able to obey Daddy God, and just deliver the word. And so whoever did it, whoever missed it, I hope that somebody will be able to let them be able to get on this site and be able to hear it. And so that's basically it. And I'll be sending the YouTube link out to others. But this evening, before I get into the fragmented soul, this easement is what I talk about in my book here. It says, yes, it's true that for many years, the traumatic things that happened to people were overlooked as a possible cause of frightening, distressing, and sometimes disabling emotional symptoms such as depression, anxiety, phobias, delusions, flashbacks, anger, unforgiveness, sexual promiscuity, loss of identity, and oftentimes being out of touch with reality. And this is so real. And so today, I want to be talking a little bit about being out of touch with reality. And so those that are women ministries today, I pray that you'll be reminded of Titus 2 to make sure that we as elders go back and reach in. That's right. We got to begin to understand in reach. See, in reach says that I'm going to reach inside my house first, so start preaching everywhere like I used to. Thank God for deliverance. And so what we got to understand is that we got to in reach. That means your nieces, that means that your daughter, that means that those that are pastors or first ladies or women ministries, those who are dealing with women and young girls on any level. We need to make sure that when you come in contact with one, we need to look at some of these matters that I'm going to be talking about here during these 10 days. Like I said, don't know how long they're going to go. Don't know how much the Lord is going to allow me to share, because as He has gifted me, there's many, many things that He's allowed me to do. And my goal is to make sure I obey Him. So I got up this morning in my fourth watch. And I said, okay, Daddy, I'll go ahead. So what do you want me to talk about? He said, these 10 days, I want you to talk about trauma. I want you to talk about the fragmented soul of the woman and the girl. I want you to talk about those things that are secret, that many times that we are still dealing with PTSD. PTSD is when it just had your mind, the record just playing over and over again. Those things you keep on coming back in these cycles. They just keep on recurring, keep on revisiting you. Those things that for some reason, they will not break, and this is the reason why we need the elders to come and pray Sunday, because we know that they said that when we come together and believe God together, something happens in the power of agreement. Amen. Something happens when wisdom is present, right? And so anyway, before I get started, let me talk about, I'm trying to find my note here on the fragmented soul so I can give you some examples of that, which is very, very important. And hopefully I'll be able to come back and share too about some traits for us to discern and understand that some men have become weak because many of us women have made them weak. But I want to talk about the feminized man a little bit later on. Practically, the Lord allowed me to talk about that, on how the woman needs to be able to learn how to address those things. It may not be that you're unequally yoked. It may be that just some of them may be facing some trauma as well, and may be going through some weak areas in their lives. And so let me find my note here on the fragmented soul. I thought I had it out for y'all. And let me see here if I can pull it out real quick, because I don't see it. Let me see here. Is this it? Let's see. Well, I don't see it. Hopefully I'll be able to pull it out before I get off of here. So I'm going to jump into the other part of the message, because I don't see it. I guess I picked up something else and didn't pick it up. The devil just don't want you to have it. I'm going to get that to you, because you got to have that there so you can understand your soul being fragmented. Let me see if this is it. And so you can know how to address it. I might have it right here. Yeah, here it is. Oh, anyway, so I want to give you some symptoms of those things. I want to get you, hi there, I love you too. I want to give you some soul recovery tips so you can understand what's happening to you as a woman or a young girl. Because many of you are walking around with a fragmented soul. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about looking at the issues of trauma. Okay. And so I'm praying that these messages don't never be any longer than maybe 20, 30 minutes so that you can really, really chew on the matter. So you can really, really think about what Holy Spirit is saying to you through me. Amen. Through my experiences. What better testament, what better, how they say, example can you have than someone who's been there and done that? The Lord has allowed them to recover. Anyway, recovering from your fragmented soul, we need to look at the soul care recovery. And this is where we are right now. I want to talk about soul care recovery. Now, what this means when I say fragmented soul, a lot of us has various different types of painful relationships we've been in. Many of us have had bad marriages. Many of us have had been raped. Many of us have been incested. Many of us have been abused physically, violently. Many of us have been through a whole lot of things. But the fragmented soul ties is very, very serious. Why? Because of the painful relationship, because of what we thought was going to be the yoke that God had for us. But no. What happens is that we want to try it on for size. We want to see what it felt like. We want to make sure that we cuddle up with somebody and feel the warmth of that intimacy when you have sex. But something happens. Something happens in the soulish realm when we do not allow God to choose our mates and we choose them ourselves. I'm trying to slow it down. So anyway, what happens is there's pieces of our soul. And as we go through these relationships, whether it's a man or a woman, guess what? Because there is such a thing as an emotional attachment that we can have with individuals of the opposite sex, of the same sex. It's not that we're trying to say that we're gay. It's that because we like that person. We like what's in them. We like their strength. They charge us. They encourage us. And before we know it, we have an emotional attachment. So if you don't hear from them one day, you're angry. If they didn't include you with the party list or they didn't, contact you. So now you got an upset going there. And so now you're emotionally distraught. See, that's what's happened. Many of us have attached ourselves to relationships that the soul has been attached and it becomes a soul tie. And what happens, then now your soul is frozen for that time. I know I'm talking to somebody. It's frozen right there. It's fragmented, it's frozen. And so through repentance, we can renounce these past things that's caused us to allow these things to be in our mind. Well, first of all, let's recognize that anything that you go to bed with, anything you wake up with, and it's constantly on your mind, you're constantly thinking about these things, it's becoming an attachment. It's becoming a fragmentation in your soulish realm because God's a jealous God. And He's going to let you know that you think about that more than me. You feeling that more than me. That's all you can think about when you get up is them. That's all you can meditate on and how they hurt you. That's all you can think about. We need to think about, where am I concerning my soulish realm? Is my soul fragmented? Am I still hurting? Am I still disappointed? Am I still dealing with this thing that they hurt me or they disappointed me? So I want to give you a couple of signs and some symptoms for you to look at to see where are you in this fragmented soul recovery process. And so first of all, one of the worst things that we have that we think is not good for us, but many times some of those dreams is what the first one is. You have recurring dreams of disturbing scenes in your dream, and sometimes insomnia. You cannot sleep. That's a good sign. So God sometimes is trying to talk to you about these dreams, or He's trying to talk to you about these recurring types of situations that go on and on again. I'll give you an example. Whenever I have a dream, the Lord always talking to me about transition in my life. Guess what happens? I lose my purse. In every dream that He's showing me that I need to make some transition, either in a relationship or the ministry, I lose my purse. It's two things I lose. I lose my purse or I lose my car. And I know it's ministry. Usually when I lose my purse in the dream, and it's constantly recurring, He always showed me other people in the dream. So it lets me know then I'm trying to show you about these people. I know I'm talking to somebody. And so then the second thing is a loss of interest for something we used to enjoy. You know how you used to love to do evangelism, you love to do ministry, you love to pray with others. You love to, connect with people that you feel that God has connected you with, or you love to go to your Bible study or go to the church, then all of a sudden you don't want to do none of that no more. Then the third thing is you have a loss of creativity. God has gifted us all with creativity. But many of us have lost that creativity. And many of us, you know what? I gotta go turn this alarm off because it's really working on my nerves. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta freeze here just a minute. So y'all excuse me for just a minute while I go turn this alarm off, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. Okay. And so then the next thing is that we have a feeling of split. This is very important because many of you who are married, talking about mental health now, many of you that are married, you split. See, what split does means that you empty yourself from any emotion. It means that you disassociate yourself. It means that you disconnect yourself. It's a form of leaving your body in the spirit. And so what this does, it keeps you from being connected to anybody. When you think that you're not connected, but yet you are, because your soul is fragmented. And so when you disconnect yourself, that means you're not feeling present in your own body. And if you were outside of yourself, that means now you begin to really, really think on, why am I not connected? That's because those things that God is trying to ring your bell about is that the reason why you're not connected is because of what is going on in the soulish realm. Now, there are so many I can go over and over here, but I want to kind of talk a little bit about some of those feelings that many of us are having emotionally that's causing us to be fragmented in our soul. Having the regretful thoughts and the intenseness of thinking about what if somebody find out about your secret. These types of things, feeling that you have no value, that you have no worth, having anxiety, having fear. So many women are dealing with the spirit of fear till it ain't funny. Anxiety. It's on the rampage today because so many have so much value and so much worth. The devil knows it, so he blocks us through fear. Fear of failure, having us being too busy, having us doing everything but what God has called us to do. And that is to make sure that you get nothing done. Have you put your hand here, going there, and nothing is connected. Why? Because your soul needs recovery. It needs to be connected again so God can really, really do what he needs to do for you and through you. The other sign is that you being hard on yourself. Many of us have found ourselves just always saying, I can't, I don't know, I feel bad, I don't feel good, and even feeling lost, not knowing which way you're going to go, always having a confusion, not making sound decisions, a fear of making a decision is another issue that we go through when we need recovery for our souls. The soul is fragmented, so you can't make a sound decision, or you fear making a decision because you've made so many bad decisions. I know I'm talking about it. Depression is a very significant one, and it becomes very chronic. Chronic means that it's stuck. It stays there. It continues. It lingers. And many people have gotten such chronic depression to the point that they have to take medication, and that's not God's will for us. But many of us sometimes have to get medication in order for us to be able to get back where we need to be so we can focus. But it's a shame that we have to do that when God is saying, come to me. Everything that concerns you, every burden that's too heavy for you, it concerns me. But we won't. We'll do everything to try to, pacify it, self-medicate it, but we will not get the help that we need. Now, you that are women ministry leaders, you that are leaders that may be dealing with women, I'm telling you that these 10 classes that I'm going to be teaching on here, on these classrooms of mental health, it's important that you take notes about what I'm trying to share with you so you can help these women out and these young girls. Because it's too late for us to sit back trying to do all this ministry, trying to do all these things, preaching abroad, and you're not trying to even reach inward first. Sit your daughter down, sit your niece down, and then there's your church right there. And start talking to these young girls. Lord, help us all today. A lot of these young girls, they just need somebody to explain to them why you can't let them touch your breast. Why you can't let them put your finger in them? Why you don't put your mouth on the peanuts? Why you don't do these things? But we won't spend that time because we're too cute. We're too busy doing what we want to do to try to look super spiritual. When God is saying, where are you? Titus 2:1. God is looking at kids are on edge. I have a new book out. I'm going to be doing a class on that book later on. And so when you get this here message about the class on this site, I hope that you will enroll in it so you can get certified in this mental health certificate I'm going to be giving out, and the book free. The Lord said, don't sell that book. Give it free. But in order for you to be able to get the book and be in the class, you're going to have to register. You're going to have to register, most importantly, in order for you to get the book, because you're going to have to get the book through a password. So I want this to be issued out to people who are really not trying to make no impact. I want those who really trying to make an impact in the lives of the women and girls that you come in contact with. But anyway, here we go. We're dealing with PTSD. It is too open. It is too regular. It is too frequent in the lives of the women who are hurting. Okay? It is too evident in our own daughters. It is too evident in our own granddaughters. It is too evident. And women, while you sitting back trying to get label clothes, while you sitting back trying to do all these women ministries and women conferences, you better start one right in your living room. I want to freeze. Why can't you start a conference in your living room? I just don't understand these things. Why can't you, over my years, those that know my ministry, I started out with just a group of women that I would host every Monday night that was called Sisterhood. Those that ever came, they already know God was packing power in the house. It was like an upper room experience for those that ever came. One thing I had to learn as a woman minister was to make sure that I reach one. And if I reach one, then I let the daddy do the rest. Let our daddy God do the rest. There was so many women in that house. They was in the kitchen. It was so packed in there. They just want to be in the house. Yes, so they are. But my assignment was to make sure they understood that I care about my sisters. That's why I call it sisterhood. And what I did is I brought these women in my home until it got so bad. It was too packed out. The neighbors didn't know what was going on because it was cars on one side of the road all the way down the road, from one stop sign of the block to the next, and people was trying to get in the house. An upper room experience. What are you doing? What are you doing to make the impact, my sister? What are you doing, First Lady? What are you doing, Women Minister? What are you doing? We need to be socially active about the recovery of these women, these young girls. Talk to somebody. You can do the prayer line. You can have the conference. But until you really sit down and have a Titus 2 movement with your own daughter, with the women that God has put to your hand, elect lady, First Lady, pastors even, so you can understand how important it is that we look at a whole other dimension of auxiliary, a whole other dimension of reaching out to these populations who are hurting. Now, we got to know that in this message that I talk about this easement, I'm hoping that I can cover some types of body pain and stuff like that a lot of these young girls and women are facing that's causing them to stay where they're at. So I want to give some impact on what happened to you. I want to share first what is trauma. Trauma can result from a wide variety of events, such as emotional or physical or sexual abuse. Trauma can be from abandonment or neglect, especially small children. A whole bunch of children don't even know their mama because the mama too busy being sexed up and drunk, and they can't. A lot of these kids going to school, their hand ain't even count because she done sexed up all night long. Been there. But thank God I had enough sense to get up and take care of my house. I thank God for that much. Because I was going to be sexing up all night long, but I can at least get up and cook my kids' food. I can get up and take care of them. But we have those who are not able. Why? Because they self-medicate in two ways, sex and drugs. God help us all. Anyway, sexual assault. I'm giving you some signs and sources of trauma. Domestic violence. You know how bad domestic violence is today. Girls are dating people in elementary school and boys in elementary school. And when they decide they don't want to be with them no more, they punch them in the stomach, hit them upside their head, bullying them. Oh, God. One little girl told me the boy wanted her to do oral sex on him. Do you hear me? This is elementary school. God help us all. And you sitting back trying to talk about you gonna do a women's conference? Well, it's good. But can we start at home? Can we do a Titus 2 movement in the house first? Can we get these children together first? Lord help us all. A whole bunch of stuff that these grown women already know. I don't care how you talk to them, they're blue in the face. Or you blue in the face. They're still gonna go back and do just exactly what they want to do now. That's why I'm trying to give you some recovery information here for your own self as an adult and hope you can help these young girls out. Oh. Anyway, then experiencing or witnessing violent crimes, trauma, institutional abuse, cultural dislocation or sudden loss, terrorism and war, historical violence against a specific group, natural disasters. We got that going on right now. People in natural disasters. The rain that we had yesterday in some regions, it was raining so bad over here, I can only imagine what those who went through Harvey that was, flooded out, what they was thinking. People are going through trauma just from the drop of a hat of any rain or sound like it's going to be a storm. They just start shaking and getting nervous. Thinking that something's going to happen again, or they're going to lose another family member, or they're going to drown, or the house is going to be flooded again. I know what I'm talking about. Grief, chronic stressors like racism and poverty, accidents, medical procedures. You'd be surprised how many people going through trauma because they know they got to have a medical procedure. Any situation where one person misuses the power or abuse over another. Interpersonal violence in the United States. I want to give you this stat. I hope you're writing this stuff down. More than 3 million children witness domestic violence every year. Every 35 seconds, a child is abused or neglected. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys are sexually abused by the age of 18. God help us all. 1 child dies from violence every 3 hours. That just made me want to throw up. 1 child dies from violence every 3 hours. And guess what? If you look at the news, you can see that has changed drastically. It's as I'm breathing right now and you breathing, some child has died behind bad choices, many times of us women who choose wrong relationships, who make decisions that sex means more than the child, who have made a decision that they hurt more than recognize that the children need help. God help us all. And so interpersonal violence is a major source of trauma in the United States, particularly for women. And so while men are most likely to experience violence from strangers, women and girls are most likely to be hurt by people they know. And so that's why I want to talk about the fragmented soul today. I want to talk about trauma today. I want to share this information with you. I only got a few more minutes. I want to talk about some flashbacks that you have. As I said earlier on about these frequent nightmares, being very sensitive to noise is another thing. Many of the women who have been through a whole lot of trauma have had, to watch their parents and others in balanced situations. Because I know that's where I was. Watching my mother, I wound up doing the exact same thing. And so noise, expecting noise. I wanted to see, what is that I hear? And many of us are hearing a lot of things, and many of us are hearing a lot of voices that is not of God. And some of the noises that they're hearing come from trauma. And so being sensitive to noise or being sensitive to touch. Some people don't want anybody to touch them today, and that is because of what they have been through. And so touch is very important. That's why a lot of marriages don't work, because women who have been traumatized, because they've been incested, it's hard for them to be intimate with their husbands. It's hard for them to be intimate, period, once they get married, because now I've got to let you touch me in places that remind me of the incest. Or I'm sensitive to touch that. First of all, I'm not used to you touching me or hugging me because I never received that as a child. I know I'm talking to somebody. That's what I was. It's very hard for me to hug even my own children because I never was hugged when I was coming up by my parents. So many of these women are being traumatized by so many different factors till it ain't funny. That's why I'm doing this. God told me to do this to help a sister out. You feel numb. That's the other thing. You know, when you're trying to be intimate with your mate, you feel numb. You hear me keep saying mate, meaning your husband, not your triumph size or your soul tie. We talking about your mate. You become numb. And when you're in a relationship that is not of God, you're going to be numb too. I know I did. Let's just get it on. I got to pay this light bill. So just let's do it. Get done. Get up. Give me my money. I know I'm talking to somebody. At home prostitution is happening as I speak. And it's happening very big in our young girls. Finding yourself in a situation where others abuse or take advantage of you. Many of you have been abused. Many of you have been used because and been taken advantage of because you have not set yourself in position to be under the right mentorship or be under the right covering or be in the right church. Placement is very important. Hopefully I get to talk about placement a little later on. Many of you are not in the right place. This is why you cannot flourish. This is why you cannot grow. This is why you're scattered around. You cannot have the right seeds spoken in your life so the baby inside you can germinate, can grow, can come up, can be strong. You know, regardless of what you feel, is what God is saying to you through that vessel. God help us out. The lack of concentration, irritability, sleep problems, I talked about that. Excessive watchfulness, anxiety, anger, shame, or sadness. Now, adverse issues is a reason why. Let me get out here. So this impact of trauma, what does it do and where did it come from? Well, it's come from what is called today ACE, adverse childhood experiences. Write that down. Adverse childhood experiences. Okay. And so adverse childhood experiences, ACEs has about 17,000 people today enrolled in HMOs behind ACE. That means because of all the social ills, because of the mental health issues, the ACE has overtaken them. That means the childhood, like I said, experiences, the adverse ones. That means these staggering things that continue to come, these cycles that keep coming in and out of your mind, relationships you keep on recycling, you know, these soul ties you keep on going back to, things you keep on allowing people to do to you, things you find yourself doing over and over again, and you wonder why you can't break free. That's because you're traumatized and you got to deal with the mental health part of this trauma. I'm here to talk to you about it. I pray you follow me in the next 10 days. This is day 1. We're talking about the trauma. We're talking about the fragmented soul today. I'm only going to put number 1 and number 2 on. I'm not going to put what it is. You're going to have to check it out. And then finally, the impact of this, the stat says women are 50% more likely than men to have an ACE score of 5 or more. That's serious. Of 5 or more. That means you're on the scale of tipping the edge or going over the edge of mental health trauma. That means you subject to have to start taking meds. You subject to have to start, drinking or whatever to self-medicate what you know you're feeling, what you're quiet about, what you won't get no help about. And so now you have already reached the scale of over the edge about to go crazy. I know I'm talking to somebody. It's probably already there because you haven't gotten the help. And so 54% of depression in women can be attributed to childhood abuse. Women with an ACE score of 4 or more. I hope y'all writing this down now, women ministry leaders. Women with an ACE score of 4 or more are almost 9 times more likely to become victims of rape and 5 times more likely to become victims of domestic violence than women with a score of 0. It's so true. I was on the edge of insanity. And I figured if I don't stay with him, who's going to want me? I was already told in my house that I was not going to be anything and I was ugly duckling. So I figured if my mama survived domestic violence, then maybe I should try too. Because after all, he says he loved me. He proved his love, his kind of love. See that? He said he loved me. He said he loved me. Where are you? Some of you got scars that you don't even never show nobody. Some of you been cutting yourself. Some of you done tattooed all up everywhere because you're trying to self-indulge the pain. Put it in. To hope you can cut it out. Hopefully you can just do the tattoo and just pet that pain. God help us all. Petting pain ain't gonna work. We got to deal with the matter. It goes on to say 2/3 of all suicide attempts are attributable to ACEs. Women are 3 times more likely to attempt suicide than men across the lifespan. That's really, really sad. And it's sad that we think that, but the adverse events, they can impact people in 2 ways. And look it out here. Number 1, the first way is trauma affects the developing of the brain and the body. So you got to know that these young girls, this is the reason why many of them are learning too much too soon. Many of us are giving these kids expectations that should not be there. Many of these young girls are having to be left alone, try to fend for themselves, being going places they have no business. When you know there's harm's way, you know that brother is a womanizer, you know he's on porn, and you leaving your daughter there. I don't want to get into it. Duh. He going to eventually look at her butt and her breasts while yours looking like pancakes. He going to say, oh, these are firm. Whoop. That rear end is real. And so before you know it, he done tipped in while she sleep and dare her to tell you. He going to kill you. That's usually the tactic that he tell him. I'm going to kill you and your mama. Do you want that? You better not tell. Just trying to help sister out. Number 2, the second trauma increases health risk. Behaviors such as smoking, drinking. I talk about that, overeating, risky sex. Things that trauma survivors sometimes do not cope with what they are actually going through. They can't cope. They just try to take that to medicate what they're going through. Recognizing these behaviors as coping responses rather than bad choices is a great start to effective mental health. I'm going to stop right there. I want you to know that I obey God, and I gave him the message today. I went way over than I planned to go today. But I want to pray for you now that those that are listening to me or to come back and listen to this message. You got to know that God is holding us accountable for what we know. We can all go and read Titus chapter 2. We're all trying our very best to do a good work and having our conferences and our meetings. Because I go to conferences, I host types of trainings and things like that. But as I begin to meditate more and more today, the Lord is beginning to show me, especially in the 4th watch hour, I challenge you to set your clock to get up at 3 a.m. and talk to Daddy about what's next. And so what's next to you as a woman leader? What's next to you as a pastor of a church, whether you're a woman or a man, is to begin these small groups. You let these kids talk to you about the real deal. We got too many dying today, too much bloodshed. We got too many homes that are jacked up, marriages that are going through divorce, and the kids are watching. We got too many children that are born with the spirit of the bastard, where not only pastors have left their own kids, but women are marrying men who are weak, that have left their children, who do not even take care of their children. And you think that he's going to take care of yours, righteously. There's something wrong with these things that we don't spiritually assess. I want you to make sure that you spiritually assess your relationship, spiritually assess, what did I do that I need to understand why this happened to me? Because remember, it's not what's wrong with you, it's what happened to you. I pray that I'll be able to talk to you further about what happened to you, especially as we go through these mental health classrooms. God bless you. Please share these messages. I pray that you'll see me sometimes. I don't know, this week. All I know is going to be 10 days leading up to September 6th, which was the day that I was shot. So that means if it's 10 days, I guess you'll see me tomorrow. I'll hopefully be doing these between 6 o'clock a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Hopefully daily. I'll see you next time. God bless you.